All right, guys, we're gonna start the class. So again, this is gonna be Revit. This is our beginning tutorial. So when we open up this screen for Revit, this is gonna be what you see up here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna click New. And there's a couple options here. There's construction, architectural, structural, and mechanical. And then for our purposes, since we're architectural, we're gonna do an architectural template.
There's not much difference in the different templates. It's just different options of like different hotkeys that you can use to make things go quicker. If you're designing something smaller, you usually use a mechanical one. But for our purposes, we'll be using the architectural. So this is loaded in, right?
Yeah.
This is the opening page. You have your views here, right? On this side, you have your levels, which are different kind of like layers to your building. You have your ceiling plans. This is for like roof, and you have your elevations, which are very important. You should always be aware of where your elevations are. This has like,
Where's everything?
it's gone. Anyway, I guess we're starting from scratch. In your elevations, what usually is best is to set up your levels. Something that was talked about is that to have different levels is just basically like a trace line. It's nothing that will show up in your pages or anything, but it's just a good guideline to set up and start drawing and have things be organized. Something that's very important in Revit is to be organized and never have your files just be freehand. And I guess just start making.
Why is...
Yeah, that cheap version.
Yeah, why? There it is. All right. So what we're going to do is we went from architecture, and over here on the far right, we have levels. So we're going to click that, and we're just going to click, and why won't you show up?
Tell me what's wrong with your laptop.
Do you have the cheap version? All right. Hold on a second. Why?
Why can't we get the level?
Yours is blocked?
Well, I'm on elevation right now.
Oh.
It should
But-
show up on elevation. It'll just be like dashed lines that'll reach across the screen.
It just is not showing up.
But I don't know, it's not showing up on here. Well, anyway, choose level 1 on your floor plans. You are currently looking down on level 1. You're no longer looking at it in elevation. You are looking at it from the top view. And the way we're going to start off is by setting up a floor plate. Some people just start off with different kind of like, some people start off with their walls, some people start off with their topography. I generally make it a like habit to start off with a floor plate, just so you know where your boundaries are of your building. So we're gonna do floor. We're gonna hit this floor right here.
Under the architectural tab. There.
And here you have your settings of what kind of drawing you want to make. You have your line, so if you want to draw it line by line, you have a rectangle if you want to make different kinds of shapes, if you want to make a curve. Here are your settings for what kind of drawing you want to have. So you select the line tool. Nope.
Tony, what's wrong with your computer?
This is the first time I've opened it.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay, well anyway, I guess we're gonna have to do this freehand. If you hit the line tool and you hit this the white space and just hold it and drag it across, you should see a line be created. Usually it'll come up with numbers on top. You could just type in like a certain distance. So usually you have like 15 feet or 10 feet. Or if you want to start building a house, you have a floor plate that's 40 feet. So if everybody can type in 40 feet, just with your keys, just type in 40 and enter.
You want to draw it on the board? Maybe that'll be easier.
You can't draw.
You are working on top of that level, directly on top. Yeah, we can start. think you should slow down. Well, anyway, under the architecture tab, you're gonna have different options for what kind of things you can work with. One of them is walls. You have doors. Well, obviously we're gonna make some walls, so you click the door, the wall option. You see, walls. Just hit wall if you wanna have. Usually some properties come up here. If you guys see on your right, on the left side, there's some properties of a wall. It usually will say generic wall 8-inch. That means that wall is a generic made wall with no textures, no properties, but it's 8 inches like wide. From one end of the wall to the other, that's how thick it is. Yeah, see? Generic 8-inch. So now we're gonna start clicking here and just start drawing out that square again. And you guys will run into a problem that most settings are preset to wall line center. So that means when you're drawing your wall, you'll have a wall that's like this. And when you're drawing, it'll draw from the center of the wall. Wall line center, right? This is how, when you have something that's overhanging off of your plate, that's how you know that there's gonna be a 4-inch overhang. It'll always center at the half. What you wanna do is switch this right here. If you hit the little arrow, you have different types of drawing methods. So you have chord, center line, finished face exterior, all these little ones. For now, hit finished face exterior.
Oh.
Okay, so now you're going to be drawing where the square that you're going to be making, the finished face, which is the material that you want to be exposed, will be on the outside, and you're going to be drawing from right here. So that's finished face exterior. Now, finished face interior is the same, but the line will be on this side, and you will be drawing from this side. Okay, so now with that, draw your walls around your plate. So just click and just start going. Your line will never be cut off until you hit enter or you reach the other end.
And then
Finish face exterior,
0 on it.
and just start, yeah.
And you can trace them. So it's going to click automatically connect the corner to corner.
If I just click the corner.
Yeah. Once you're done, I want you to hit the little house or go to view in 3D so you can see what you have so far. Ta-da! You have some walls. It's not that impressive, but that's how easy it is to design a wall. Usually what you would have to do in Rhino, you have to make the line, extrude it, make the center, like the fill. This already has insulation. It already has a thickness on how thick the wood is inside of it. That's just something you can modify.
Can I ask you something? You know, like how you change the units in Rhino? You're not supposed to do it here.
No.
Okay.
Unless you're like in metric, unless you're working in metric, I would not recommend messing with any of the measurement settings because then that means all the measurement settings with your families will be off. Unless you're switching to metric, I would say just stick to the measurements that are here. Okay, so now you see you have your floor plate and you have your walls. Do you want to talk about the roof and how to attach walls to levels?
Yeah.
I've talked enough.
Yeah. All right. So let's make sure that we have levels here. So if we click on elevation, I'm just clicking on east for now. We're going to see that we have 2 levels here. This is what we were trying to show earlier. But right now, our walls, they put an automatic, for beginning, they put an automatic 20-foot height. And that's not what we're going to want. So what we're going to do is we're going to change our wall height down to our level 2. Okay? So we're gonna go back to floor plans, level 1, and we're gonna go control, and then select all the walls that we have here. Okay?
You hit control, not shift, control.
Yeah. And then what we're gonna do is over on this side over here,
Yeah.
hopefully you guys have it, otherwise just right click and then go to properties. So we're gonna go unconnected, and we're gonna change that to level 2 and hit apply. So now when we look at it, it's gonna be in our east view, it's gonna show that it's up to that level that we were wanting it, okay?
So basically that helps with having like a building that's multiple floors. It's just a quick, easy way to make sure that all your walls are to the exact level that you need.
Especially if they're custom, you can adjust it to that. All right, so now we're gonna make a roof now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to floor plan level 1, and we're gonna go to architectural. We're gonna hit roof, and it says we wanna connect it to level 2. That's gonna be the base of where the roof is. So we're gonna hit yes. And now, normally with a roof, we generally have an overhang. So we're gonna make an overhang about like, what, 1 foot?
Sure.
Let's go 1 foot. So hit 1 and then just press enter. Or, yeah. Okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that we're on, you can either customize the shape of your roof with all these tools, but right now we're gonna click on the pick walls tool, which means that it's just automatically gonna connect it to the walls that we have. Okay? So now we're gonna click, and it's gonna give you that dashed line that's gonna tell you where the outside of that of the roof is gonna be, the outside edges. And if you notice, there's gonna be these little triangles here. So we're gonna go to our modify tool, and we're gonna click on, it's gonna click on 2 of them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go click on 1, and we're gonna say, turn off the define slope. So what that button means is the slope of the roof, the pitch of the roof.
Does anybody have any questions on what that means? You guys know what the pitch of the roof is? Yeah. Okay.
And then let's
Where's the
go,
modify again?
modify is that little, just the mouse.
Oh, the mouse.
Yeah. So we're gonna click on the one from the opposite side of that and turn that one off as well, and we're just gonna leave 2 sides with a slope. So if we go now into our 3D view,
Accept.
oh, excuse me, I didn't press accept. Make sure to press the green check mark to accept. So we're gonna hit the 3D view, and this is what we're gonna get.
You have a roof.
But if you notice, our walls are not quite attached there. They go all the way through. Actually, let's put it in. One thing I'm gonna do to you guys, I'm gonna show you. So if you go down to the bottom, and then there's this little cube right down on the bottom, I want you guys to pick that and press realistic. So this is gonna render it in the material that it's already in, but in the more, it's not like full on render, it's just kind of like the,
It's like shaded
Yeah.
in Rhino.
all right. So now what we're gonna do, like I said, we can see right through it. That's not what we want. So we're gonna click the wall that is not connected, and we're gonna go up to the top. It automatically brings up all these little properties and things that you can use. So you can align it, you can mirror it, move it, rotate it, crop it, and edit the profile, so change the shape of the wall, not just be a rectangle. But right now we're gonna do attach top to base. Click that, and next we're gonna select our roof. So make sure it's highlighted and click. And it's connected. Now we're gonna rotate it, so that's gonna be shift and the middle button on your mouse. And you're gonna do the same thing. Click the wall, you wanna do this one? And then click attach top face, and now select the roof.
And then,
There you go, and then click off.
and now you have a little house. As you can see, this is a lot faster then extruding walls, trimming them, make sure that they are like on the proper trim. If they're not, you have to start over with the extrude. This is a lot faster, a lot more efficient, and these houses are built with interiors, with cores, with insulation. This pretty much, if you wanted to build a house with a flat floor plate and no doors on walls, no windows and stuff, this you could start making drawings of, and you can hand them over to a contractor and they would know where to start. Because this is to proper code, if you want. Okay,
All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is add the doors and
doors
windows.
and windows, because you can't have a house without doors and windows.
All right, so we're gonna go back to our floor plan, level 1, okay? And for this is, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go again to architecture, and we're gonna select door. So let's add in a little door here. And it's already gonna give you our basic flush door. Now, you were talking about families, and one thing, if we don't want just a basic door, is we go into load family. And that's gonna open up a file that automatically gets downloaded when you download Revit. And now we're gonna go to doors, and it's gonna show us all these different types of doors that are here that we can choose.
And these are already preset. That website that we showed you, that has just more of them. There's just more variety. That's an open source page where people can just upload their models.
What type of door do we want? Not a double acting door. Alright, for right now, we're just gonna stick with the flush door right now. So again, architecture, door. And then let's put it on the front side here. And it's gonna show you the dimensions there, and it's automatically connecting to the middle, but it doesn't have to connect to the middle. That's just what it's automatically gonna do. We're gonna click. And now we can see that we have our little door. And if your door is facing on the inside, all you have to do is just hit the space bar and it rotates it, whichever way you want it. Okay?
And it also gives you the spacing between each end. So if you do have a door that needs to be, 5 feet from the corner, then you could just click it on the center and just adjust the sizing.
So let me open up the properties. There you go. All right, and if your properties aren't showing up there, so just click on the door, you're gonna right click and just hit properties, and it's gonna pop up.
I'm sorry, how did you get to the families again?
Families, so you're just gonna click on one of these components. You can click on doors, windows, components. Components is gonna be like miscellaneous. So what we did was we did doors, and we looked up the types of doors. We had to go to load family, and then select the type of door that we want under the file door. And hit OK.
And if you go in your 3D view, because it's always nice to go back to your 3D view to just get an idea of what you're doing. And see, it makes a door on your level 1 on top of the floor plate, and it's flush against the wall. And if you look at it in plan, it'll give you the swing, like how far out it swings. A lot easier than actually having to make the circle, guessing the radius.
All right.
Faster.
Does anyone have questions yet so far, or everyone's good?
Anybody confused, lost?
Yes.
Can you open Revit file on Rhino?
You can. You have to. It's a little bit more complicated. So what you have to do for that part is you have to save your file. I believe it's as a DNG file. And then from there you can open it into Rhino, and then vice versa. But I have to look it up. It's on a, you can look it up on YouTube on what files you change it to. But it is possible to be able to save it from one program to the other and switch to the other.
What I would suggest with that is to make all the crazy modeling in Rhino and then just import it into Revit. It's just a lot easier mostly with your sizes and stuff. Depending on what kind of units you have on Rhino, it might mess with your sizes. So I would say model in Rhino and import into Revit.
Because the one difference between Revit and Rhino is the flexibility it has with your skins, your exterior. With Rhino, you can get a little bit more crazier shapes, but it's a little bit more inefficient when it comes to creating construction documents and being able to make floor plans and everything. Revit is what's really good for that. Is it makes it quick, easy, and it already makes it 3D.
So it's about knowing what you want.
Yeah. All right, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go again to architecture, but we're gonna add in some windows here. And so again, they're gonna just give us our basic window, but if we wanna change the type of window that we have, again, load families, and we're gonna scroll down till we hit windows. And there's gonna be all these different types of windows that we have here. I'm gonna select, for this one, I'm gonna select these guys. So it's gonna be our casement 3x3 with a trim. You can choose whichever type of window that you want. but this is
Yes,
the one-
please do practice opening families. It's very important. It's how you get things more custom.
And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place this right in the middle between where we place our door and our side wall that we have. And I'm gonna place one on the other side as well. And if you can see, oops, one second. What is going on? That's why. So if you see, there's this little detail that shows where the window pane is. So that one's okay, but if we go over to the other side, mine wasn't okay. So I just need to rotate it by pressing spacebar. Okay? Let me zoom out. And then let's add in a couple more windows to the side here. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our 3D view, and voila, we see all our windows that we put in there. And one question we had was about materials, correct? So one thing that we can do is if we want to change the type of materials that we have, we just select whatever wall we want to change, or you can do the control, select multiple walls. Actually, one thing I want to show you is if you highlight everything, it's going to select everything, but we can go to filter up in the top here, and we can say we only want the walls. So we're going to click off all the walls. Okay, so no floors, no roofs, just the walls. And that's going to filter through everything that you selected.
It's basically like making layers.
Yeah. Okay. And for this, what we're going to do is we're going to select edit type. So this is going to pop up on the side. If you don't see it, again, right click, press properties. We're going to go edit type. And it's going to bring up this. So this is the basic information that we're going to know about our wall. It's the height, it's an exterior wall, there's no wrapping on it. But if we want to change that, what we do again is we're going to press edit under structure.
Go back.
What? Go back?
Oh, what I would recommend, and it's something that all professionals have always told me, is to always duplicate. Because right now what you're doing, you're messing with, you're modifying the base wall that Revit gives you. You never want to do that because this wall is it's your most basic wall that's just a fill-in. You never want to modify that. So every single time, I would recommend you duplicate it and make your own and name it whatever it is that's going to be. So this is called generic 8-inch. Make it generic 8-inch with copper exterior, with wood panel exterior. You never want to just work on the last one because you are working on that family. And as an aside, always work on something that's duplicated. You never want to work on what Revit gives you.
Alright. So what we're going to do, so I duplicated it and then I named it, whatever name I named it, so I've named it wall type. So again, we're gonna go to structure and we're gonna press this edit button here. And this is what you're gonna come up with. So what it's telling me right now is what our wall is made out of. So right now, it's only structure, it's generic, and it's not actually assigned to anything. So as you can see, it just says by category. That's gonna be our automatic basic wall type. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit this little gray button down here, and it's gonna bring up all of our materials. So now here is a list of all the materials that it has. Also, let's see, is it under here? Oh, go back to me. Where do you go?
Still pressed.
No, is it this one? You gotta click on the. Ah, here it is. So if we click this little button down here, it's the one with the little layers. It says open, close, asset browser. This is gonna give us our types of materials that are not already preset in there. So this is like our load family on this side, okay?
So as you can see, Revit has its own built-in render system. You don't have to load in like V-Ray or whatever it is, other rendering software that you have. Right, Revit already comes with its own preset rendering software, and it comes with its preset materials. Kind of convenient.
All right. So what type of material do you guys want to put in there?
Wood.
Wood? All right, so we're gonna go in the search bar, we're gonna type in wood. And so we have a whole bunch of types of wood. So we have cherry, we have door paneling, oak, plywood, sash, all these different types. So let's just, for now, let's go, what, cherry? Sure, we'll go cherry. And then what we're gonna see in here is we're gonna see what it's gonna kind of appear as in our non-rendered 3D view. It's gonna come up with this coloring here. We can say we used appearance, and you can also change the pattern type. So there's all these different patterns if you wanna create the pattern. So right now we're gonna press OK. So now it comes up, the structure is made out of cherry, and it's 8 inches thick. We can always change the thickness if we want. Say we want it 6 inches, so it's going to be 0.6. And we're going to press OK. And OK. So there's our cherry.
Cherry.
Quick question.
Yep.
Yes.
When you said to duplicate the family or whatever,
Yes.
so is it making another copy of the walls, or is it is it changing same walls over here?
No, what it's doing is it's taking a copy of that family. So basically what you were working on, if you go on walls and hit this little arrow, the right here, yeah. You have all these types of walls that are preset into Revit. Those are
So
not
there's
just,
the one that we made.
yeah. They're not walls, they're families that were built by the Revit programmers. So these are not just other material, this is a family that you're working on. And what you do by duplicating is that you're copying that family so you have the original one and one that you're gonna modify. I mean, by all means, if you want to, work on the one that they gave you, but I would just not recommend it because it's a good filler. Like a good, just quick filler that you can modify whenever you want.
Got it. So like families are basically like characteristics that you
Yes,
can apply.
so it's basically like an object that you design,
Mhm.
and it's something that you can mess with. It's just another object.
Alright. And then let's do the same thing to our roof. So we're gonna press the edit type. We're gonna go to structures, press edit. or-
Duplicate.
Okay.
Always duplicate.
I'm sorry, my bad. Duplicate, and we're gonna press roof. I'll just type it roof type again. And we're gonna go to edit. Click on the type of material. And we're gonna, yeah, there you go. And we're gonna go to asphalt shingle. That's generally what we use for generic roof.
Give it a pattern.
You want us a pattern? Which one do you want?
Any pattern. To show the pattern.
Alright. So we'll go with a crosshatch small for a pattern, just to show what it's gonna look like. Alright? And we're gonna press OK. OK. There you go. And you can see our asphalt shingles on there.
So is the pattern only in like draft, when you see it in draft, or what did the?
No, you can,
So
Yeah,
yeah,
you can
it's gonna
see
be,
it.
so it's gonna show up in that rendered pattern that we created. Okay. All right.
I think that, okay. I don't know, do you guys have any questions, anything specific that you want us to go over, or that you want to further explain, like further explaining?
Can you show us how it looks when it's rendered?
Mine's rendered? Yeah, of course. So what we're gonna do is for that one, we're gonna go into our view. And there's a couple options for rendering. So there's just plain render, which is what we're gonna do in here. And then there's render in cloud, which means it's gonna do our render online while we still are able to work on the file. And then also we have our render gallery, so that's gonna pop up what we already have created. So should I render in cloud?
No, just render it.
All right, so I'm gonna put render. From our 3D view, we're gonna put render.
Just as a disclaimer, this is where your computer quality starts to play in. If you have a lower end computer, I would say be careful with rendering because it'll slow your computer down because it's actually rendering. But if you have a higher end computer, then you'll be able to run it. It's a super basic rudimentary render that is very efficient.
So for right now, since we don't need this, the higher the quality it is, the longer it's gonna take. So right now, should we just do medium?
Sure.
All right, or low.
Yeah, I would say low for.
All right, so we're just gonna go low for now, just because it's gonna take a while if we do anything else. So there's gonna be options for your lighting, and depending on where your view is, you can do either exterior with the sun and artificial, or you can do interior with sun and artificial, depending if you want it nighttime, daytime, however you wanna look. So we're gonna do sun only because we don't have any lights in there. You can insert lights if you'd like. Also, you can change how the sky looks, so you can say, oh, you want a few clouds, you want no clouds. So right now, we're just gonna say for few clouds. And also you can change how clear or hazy it is and adjust the exposure as well. So right now, we're gonna see what it looks like with just a render. And so now it's gonna do this to us.
And you have a rendered view of your.
There you go. And what we're gonna do, so it kind of looks a little dark. And so we can go adjust exposure, change the highlights. Say we want a little brighter, or what's exposure? Bring that up. Press apply. Oh, too much. Sorry. There you go. So it's a little brighter now. That's okay.
Looks like a sticker.
And what you want to do is if you click off of this, it's going to go back to our normal view that we had before, so you always want to export it if this is the view that you want. Okay? So I'm going to click off of it and see if it goes back. And I just want to show you, what time is it? Yeah, I want to show you before we leave, so I'm going to show you what I've done.
While she's signing in, just as an aside, that render view, if you keep it on low, it's always like, I use it every single time that I'm working on this because one, it doesn't wear out your computer, and second, it's always a good idea. It keeps you in reality. Like, let's say one material just doesn't look right, you can always not export it and just change it and then render it again in low. Look at it. If you like it, export it. If not, exit out again. And you can continuously do this as much as you want to work on it, which is good for different iterations, or if you just want to have different variables.
All right, so this is what I've done before. These are all my renders. It saves it online. If you press the render in cloud, this is where it goes to. And what I suggest for you to do, if you haven't done it already, is to create an Autodesk account. Generally, you should already have it since if you already have Revit. So like this is what one of my projects looked like from last year. This is a multi-use housing development where we had a museum, a market, and a whole bunch of residential. And then you can kind of see some of my other projects from before as well. There you go. So that was another museum that I did.
And you can take these images into Photoshop and continue to further edit them.
Can I ask you about something like, instead, like, if you go on level like 2 or 3, you see the elevation and stuff, is there any certain level that you show the sections, or you have to cut through it?
Oh, she wants to know how to make sections.
Oh, sections, okay. So what we're gonna do for that one is we're just gonna go to our levels. And then for our sections, we're gonna go up to the top, right where it says, right where the 3D view is.
Or it's right there on the toolbar. That's
Yep,
section.
or toolbar,
It
under
says
view,
section.
section. And it says you wanna save the project.
That's actually really good for the people that don't save their stuff. Every, like, I don't know, 20 minutes, it'll remind you to save it.
Yeah. So right now, we're not gonna save it, it's not something we're gonna keep. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna draw a line through there, and this is gonna pop up. So this arrow here is gonna show you which way it's gonna look at, so right now it's gonna look towards the door, and it's gonna cut through this. And once you click it, once you place it in, we're gonna double click, and there's our section. And what we're gonna do is if we say you want like our walls darker or something, you can go to visibility graphics, and we can go where it says cut, under cut, and this is gonna be all of our little families that we have. We're gonna go all the way down to walls. So walls, and we want our lines, so we want it, color, we want black, okay, pattern, or no, actually, I'm sorry, not under lines. We want under pattern, we want fill. So it's gonna be a solid fill. Color, let's go black for now, okay. Also, the other thing that we're cutting through is our floor and our roof. So we're gonna go up to roof, do the same thing, cut pattern, solid fill, change the color. And our floor. And the grayed out boxes, those are the things that are saying that you can't really, the ones that you can't edit, but that's because when you do a section through it, you're not gonna see it anyway. All right, so now we're gonna press OK, and there you go, it's gonna
Have your
highlight
cut line.
everything there.
And you have your cut line.
Any other questions?
I hope this helped, and I hope you'll at least get a basic understanding of what Revit is, and how practical it is. As you can see, if you're looking for a wall, there's walls. If you're looking for a window, you have windows. If you're looking to make a section, you hit section. It's very practical, if you can say it, and efficient.
One last thing I want to show you guys before you leave is this thing called a section box. So when we open up our 3D, it's going to be our basic 3D view properties over here. We're going to scroll down all the way until it says section box, and we're going to click that. And what it's going to do is going to bring up this little box that's going to come up around it. And if you highlight over the arrows, you can use it to move. And this is what we would do if you want to make a section in a 3D view. So we can pull that out, and we can pull the back one out, so that way when we move it around, we can see it from the inside. Okay? So it's just gonna be in our basic 3D view. Scroll down to section box. Click that. Press apply. See, I'm gonna turn it back on. And then it's gonna bring up this little box.
And you just click it. And
And you just hover over the arrows, and you can adjust it to where you want to crop it. Okay?
We're good? Any questions?
So the next class is in 2 weeks?
2 weeks,
Yes.
same time, same day, Wednesdays, same time,
Same place.
hopefully. Most likely same place, yes.
And hopefully we'll get things set up.
Next thing.
All right, thanks guys.
Thank you.